Hey folks, so today we're going to plant our fall garden. It's actually a little bit late for a lot of these varieties. In fact, we could have planted several of them a month ago and done better. But this is just our entertainment garden. This is the garden that we couldn't restrain ourselves from putting in. We said we're not going to start any really big agricultural projects this year because we're trying to kind of build some infrastructure, get our fences built, get some projects done on the house. But we couldn't stop ourselves from having this little garden. The fall garden is one of my favorites, and here's why. You get to see plants grow and mature as the days get shorter and shorter, and then their growth almost stops after the first frost. The days are too short, the plants just become dormant. The really neat thing is though, you can actually continue to harvest many of these frost hardy varieties straight through the winter, and then in the springtime you get to see them come back to new life. In fact, the very best kale harvests I've ever had were from plants that had been planted in the fall. They had survived the winter, and then they just burst out in the spring with a beautiful crop of greens. I'm going to show you what we're going to plant today. We have mustard greens, spinach. Spinach can be a little bit challenging to germinate, so it's wise actually to soak the seeds in water for maybe a few hours before you plant them. I am not going to do that. We're just going to directly sow them into the ground and we'll see how they do. The next one here I have is a mixed greens, braising greens mix. This is going to be a delicious mix that we'll probably harvest in a baby stage and then add it to all kinds of dishes and salads. The next one is one of my favorites, kale. Kale is delicious. You can add it to many cooked dishes. One of my favorite ways to eat kale though is in a fresh kale salad. You take your kale, you tear the leaves up, and then with your hands you smash them. Some people say you massage them, and it actually darkens the leaves, it bruises the leaves. It's a delicious way to eat raw vegetables. Then the last one here is Swiss chard. So the smart thing to do when planting a fall garden is to look at your first frost date. Ours here is around October 15th, but they vary widely throughout the country. And then look at the days to harvest on the package of whatever you're growing. Right here on this Swiss chard, days to harvest is 60 days. So if you go back 60 days from your first frost date, that's approximately when you should plant. You may want to go just a little bit earlier. So for this Swiss chard with 60-day time to maturity, we would go back to approximately August 15th and plant. We might go back to the very beginning of August. So we're running a little bit late on the Swiss chard. We're going to plant a small amount of it anyway. We should be right on time with the spinach because the spinach is so cold hardy. In fact, spinach won't even germinate if the soil temperatures are too high. Spinach really likes about a 70-degree or less soil temperature to germinate. There's so many ways to extend your season's harvest into the winter from your fall garden. We're going to do some of these practices once we get closer to our first frost date. You can cover your plants and actually protect them from the frost, and you can protect your plants well into the winter, and you can continue to harvest. Now you have to plant enough because they're not going to continue to grow because they're dormant, mostly because of the lack of light. Let's get our plants and go to the garden. Hey buddy, get your shirt on, let's go plant some plants. In addition to direct sowing seeds, we're going to plant some starts that we got from the seed store. This might give us a little bit of a head start, seeing that we're getting a late start. We have some Swiss chard, some kale. It's called Vate's kale, a real popular variety. Broccoli, red cabbage.
This is my little spinach, and it's a winter giant.
It's a winter giant spinach.
It sneezed.
What happened to the other spinach plants?
These were all dying, and the person in the store said that they needed homes.
They needed homes. How much did that one cost?
Free.
That one was free?
Yeah, the sign was, if you get a plant, you get one of these free.
What do you want to put in your garden, buddy?
I got a lot of plants.
You got a lot of plants? Yeah, you did. What are we going to do with all these plants? I don't think we have enough space for all these plants and even half of our seeds, so we'll have to pick what we put in.
Ew.
So chop it up so it's nice and... I don't think that's poop, that's just
I chop it up.
Okay, Joyful, smooth out your garden space there. Dig a hole right here, here, and here. Here, squeeze like this. Now stick it down in your hole, and I'll hold it in place there, and you put dirt in and pack it down around it. And we want it packed down nice and tight so when it gets wet or windy, it doesn't just fall over. Good job, little lady. You've got a nice garden spot. Grace is planting her orphan spinach plant. In addition to the stuff we're planting today, there's a whole lot of other things you can plant this time of year. You can plant carrots, turnips, radishes, beets, to name a few. Carrots are one of my favorite fall crops. We're not planting any this fall. We don't really have space. You can leave your carrots in the ground into the winter. In fact, the sweetest carrot that you'll ever taste is a carrot that's been left in the ground after the first frost and into the winter. They get sweeter and sweeter as time goes by and as they're exposed to that cold. Next, I'm gonna plant some spinach seeds. Seed depth 1/2 inch, seed spacing 1 inch. First I'm gonna smooth out my seed bed really nice. I like to just use my hand. I'm gonna sprinkle the seeds right into these little grooves straight out of the package, just watching really carefully how many fall.
I'm gonna help you. I can't help you.
All right, hold out your hands.
Cross.
Hold on to them. I'll show you where to plant them, okay? Right here. Put them right here in this line. All the way across here. Good job. Good job being careful. Spread them out on that line. Hey, Bree, how was your nap?
I think that was about the best sleep I've had in 9 months.
Hey, buddy, are you helping in the garden? Are you helping in the garden too? You've got a hoe. What are you doing with the hoe? Oh no, he's over the bed. Don't crush the bed, young man. Can you get off of it without putting your hand in it? Someone help him.
See, Mommy can.
Next, we're gonna gently cover these seeds and shoot for about 1/2 inch of dirt on top of them. Covering them is a really critical step. If you bury them too deeply, they will never get to the surface, and if you bury them too shallowly, they will dry out and they won't germinate. We're gonna do it one row at a time. You ready to water the garden?
Yeah.
So we're just watering a few things we planted. My sister called and the kids' attention span expired. But I wanted to say, when you plant seeds, make sure you water them really well, and then water them very well until they germinate, and then you can back off a little bit. So the tools are up. I wanted to show you this fig tree. I showed it to you in an earlier episode, but since then it has exploded in growth. And I told you at that point someone had picked all of the figs off of it. But I'm happy to tell you that there's figs on it again. So I'm hoping they're gonna actually ripen. If you look right down here, there's about 8 beautiful green figs. Today has been beautiful. It's been cool all day and you can just feel the fall in the air. I'm kind of sad summer's over, but I love the fall and we have a lot to look forward to this fall. Thanks so much for coming along as we planted our fall garden, and you have a great day.